Hello again, whiskey friends. Thanks for joining everybody for a very unexpected whiskey review. Never expected to actually be talking about this particular bottle, nor the story behind it and some of the recent news going on with Stoli and Kentucky Owl. But I was able to get my hands on Kentucky Owl Batch 12 for $99. Now, the original MSRP of this is $400. So I'm going to talk about why that happened, but also talk about how it changes my perception of what is in this bottle. So thank you for joining today, whiskey friends. Let's kick off the show. So yes, we are going to be talking about Kentucky Owl Batch 12, realizing that this is a old batch, originally coming out in 2022. But what I am seeing and what you could be looking for after you go through this review and see if it's worth it, but I am seeing online retailers also heavily discount this bottle as of recording today. Now, in my local area in northern Kentucky, I was able to get my hands on this bottle at a very cheap price. Cheap at $99. I say cheap because the original MSRP is 400, and this was a bottle I never expected to buy, especially the price where it was when Dixon Deadman, had nothing to do with the brand anymore, had nothing to do with the blends. I really didn't think I was going to be into Kentucky Owl ever again, either with the prices the way they were, but happened to stumble in a store at the right time without any warning. And slowly but surely, people were just picking up cases of this stuff that they had for $99. So I figured I would take a chance on it. Now, at $99, still a pricey bottle. So I don't want to act like it takes away all the burden from this being a good bourbon. I'm still going to be looking at this and comparing it to other great $99 bottles that I've gotten my hands on in 2024. The proof on this one is 115.8. It's non-age stated, though when I did look up online and tried to see if there was any news, it looked like it was rumored to be, or maybe there was a press release at some point that's not on the bottle that indicated that it was a blend of bourbons from 4 to 14 years old. But I'll just say rumored since I don't know that as a matter of fact, though it would make sense in a lot of the age profile and flavors that I get from this thing. So what we're going to do here is we're going to go through a review on this one, and we are going to talk about the context of price at the end of this as well, and how it can impact our scoring system and our recommendations, and what a great example to be able to do that with. So cheers, everybody. Let's get into this pour. Oh, man. One thing I will say about this one, the initial impression that I had was just okay. And every subsequent pour that I've gotten into it, whether it's just been opening up or what have you, has impressed me more and more. Maybe I'm acclimating to it. Maybe it was a me thing. But the nose is another part of that where it sticks out a bit more than I remember. Quite the lovely nose. Nice oak and leather stick out. There is also a bit of stewed apples that ultimately I would think of with all the baking spices going on as an apple pie, but there's also some other fruits going on, some like red leaning fruits, whether it be a cherry reduction or a raspberry reduction on that nose. The other thing that sticks out to me is a bit of a charred meringue. So a lot of these are very sweet leaning flavors, I would say, but balanced by that oak and the leather getting as well. So when it comes to the nose, I'm going to give this thing a thumbs up. Enjoyed the nose quite a bit. Didn't necessarily have a knockout punch to get to two thumbs, but it was on the verge. So let's get into the taste. Mm. Gosh, the mid palate keeps getting better and better. Now, I will say up front, mouthfeel, very, very oily and decadent. So, love that coats very, very well. And with that coating brings a lot of flavor throughout all aspects of the experience. Up front, the main notes I get are compromised with those oaks, leathers, and once again, going into the cherry notes, maybe a little raspberry. I'm still deciding which one of those I want to go with there, but something right in that range and very, very pronounced. As you get into mid palate, though, it does play it safe with a lot of the flavors that it does give. You're talking about a lot of caramels, a lot of vanillas. Once again, the oak and leather play through, but I do get essentially a cherry cobbler there as well. Very, very good flavors, and the volume on those flavors, as I've said, continues to get stronger. Sip after sip as I explore this thing more. I mean, even today now, we're about 4 tastings in, oh my gosh, it's like hitting pretty darn strong. I'm enjoying it more and more as time goes on. So keep that in mind if you get through a first pour and it initially disappoints you. Let me go one more sip, see if I got anything mid palate. Ah, no. I mean, maybe it lacks depth, I would say, in some of those flavors, but the flavors that it has are quite delicious. I'm actually going to give it 2 thumbs up, particularly on the back of the oily mouthfeel. Now, as you get into the finish here, there is a bit more nuttiness that does emerge, maybe in the form of a walnut. There's also a lot of the baking spices. It's kind of mixed in with that leather I keep talking about as well. Oak is there, so I can believe it's got some 14-year-old stuff in this blend and still getting those fruits, the apple pies, and even a little bit of those apples that I was talking about on the nose pop up on the finish. And then there's actually some floral aspects that pop up late into the finish as well. That's essentially what I'm getting right now. So it hits a whole lot on the flavor range. Now, I will say, considering how rich and decadent it does feel and how oily it is, I was expecting a bit more out of the finish. It gives me just enough to keep me happy, but it doesn't end on that high note. So I am going to go 1 thumbs up on the finish. All right, one more sip. Let's see if I got anything else, and then we'll go over the final scores. No, I think that's it. Oh, I got a good blast of oak on that one. I feel like if they used younger stuff in this blend, it was only used to like even out something in the profile. It's not like it was predominantly the younger stuff and they mixed in the old. Like, feels like it's got some good, consistent age on it. Very, very happy with this blend overall and happy with the purchase at $99, as you'll see here. So, as we get into the scores, here on the channel, we do have a 3 tier scoring system. There's 10 metrics behind the scenes, but ultimately they can be summarized as a flavor score, experience score, and a value score. Now, the value score that you see on the screen right now is based on what I spent, which was $99. We are going to review that a little bit here with some commentary in a moment. Really, really like the flavors. Strong flavors on this with a flavor score of 85. Now, the experience score is a little lower at an 84. It doesn't necessarily do anything too complex. It doesn't have the depth of flavors. It plays a lot of the flavors down the middle in what you would expect from a bourbon. It just does it really strong. So, very happy with this as a blend overall. I don't know the states of distillation or what's going into this, but it's kind of its own thing too. It's good bourbon. And then at $99, totally happy with the price paid on that. So I gave it the full 10 out of 10, which is 100% of the points. So then what that then turns into is a final score of an 86. Now, asterisk, 86 at the price of 99. I usually don't get to go over this type of example because this situation is so weird. But Let's say in some alternate reality, I paid $400 for this bottle. I was never, ever going to do that, by the way. But let's say I paid $400 for this bottle. I would have smashed it on value, probably given it a 5 out of 10, in which case that would have taken the score down to an 81. Now, the reason that I bring this up is, as I mentioned, because Stoli filed bankruptcy, I'm guessing it is being heavily discounted everywhere. Maybe they're trying to get rid of inventory that they had and just trying to get any cash that they can. All speculation on my part, but I can't imagine why else this is hitting the market in this way. And while I had this deal in Northern Kentucky, once again, if you were to search online, which I did right before recording, I saw many online retailers selling it between 130 and 160. So they have to be having the same deal as what I saw locally. Plus, you got the online part of it. So maybe they're bumping it up a little bit. But absolutely crazy. Keep an eye out for it. And now you can kind of see where it can range in the scoring. You know, if you were to pay the full 481, I mean, we're taking that down quite a bit. I mean, at that price, that's probably a pass. But an 86, especially at $99, if you paid 130, 150, we're still talking about an 85. That could be like a top 20, top 25 bourbon of the year in 2024. And take it for what it is. This is a great bourbon, not necessarily as a birthday pour or some special celebration pour, but this is a pour that you could put at the center of the table when you are having friends over and you all are going to be having a great, great time with it, enjoying it. You won't have that need to like break it down or anything or feel precious about it. It would just be enjoying it while you're having great conversation and feel nothing else about it other than having a great time. So, if you have the opportunity to get a deal like I did, hopefully this steers you a little bit. I mean, it's kind of a in the buy column if you can get it at those lower prices. Me personally, if I got the chance to buy another one, 130, maybe 140 would be my range now that I've had the chance to try it. So let me know what you think in the comments about this. Did you get your hands on one discounted and what did you think of it? If you've not gotten your hands on it, have you seen it discounted and were you considering it? And did this video steer you any other way? Curious to hear your opinions. So thank you for joining today, Whiskey Friends. We'll catch you on the next Whiskey Review. Goodbye, everybody.